Hi, my tribe family. This is your host, Coach Megs, welcoming you to another episode. As you know, this is International Women's Month, and I'm excited once again to introduce my friend all the way from the United Kingdom, Miss Lorraine. Welcome.
Welcome. Yes, it's so good to be here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Now, who is Miss Lorraine for those that don't know you?
Yeah, so I would start by saying I am a child of God. Apart from that, I'm also a mom of two, a wife of 12 years, and I'm also an entrepreneur coach. Um, I work in banking and finance alongside running my business, a clothing line, and a coaching consultancy brand. I predominantly work with women who are in business, helping them with strategies, business processes, and systems to be able to effectively work well in their businesses and scale up to where they are meant to be.
That is amazing. How do you do all that with being a mom, a wife, business, and work full time? How do you manage? And you're an author too.
And yes, an author too. Yeah,
How do you manage to
added that
do
to the.
all that?
Well, I think, a lot of people always ask me this question. And I think, I think it's one of those things that for every season, God will probably give you another responsibility, right? So, you get married, and then the next thing, you start a family, and then from there, another responsibility is being added on. And I think it's through the grace of God. I'm always saying that, I'm living on Philippians, which says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So that's what I rely on, that all of these things that God has given me, all of these hats that I wear, it's actually God who's enabling me to be able to do that.
That is
So that's my short answer.
that is really good. Now, as you know, it's International Women's Month. What message do you have for a woman who's watching from any part of the world?
To any woman who's watching, all I can say is if you have desires in your heart that probably God is giving you and you're probably worried about how will I do this, the first thing that you need to do is to take the first step, right? Don't worry about the how, just take the first step of obedience, and you will see that as you are taking one step at a time, God will give you the grace, He'll give you the wisdom to be able to fulfill His purpose here on earth.
That is good. So take the first step. And then
Yes.
what's next after the first step?
That's when you see the path gets clearer. The more we spend time with God, the more we ask Him for answers, we ask Him for clarity, you find yourself, you're actually growing, and that's when opportunities start to come and you start to see the growth. As Christians, we don't normally see the end of where we are going, but we know that because we have Jesus, He is also going to help us. In the marketplace, it's the same thing as well, right? You have aspirations, but desires. We're there to dominate, we're there to shed light. But take the first step.
Right.
Self-education, learning as you go, improving on those skill sets. You're going to find that you will reach further than you ever imagined.
Wow. So it's, and if you don't take the first step, you will never start.
You'll never stop and you'll never discover what's on the next stage of your life.
That is really good. Now, what about a woman who's thinking, I'm going to have to wait until my children are 18 before I can start anything, or I'm going to have to wait until the children go to university? What would you say to somebody who's thinking, I can't add another thing to this season? And yet they have a vision, they have a plan, but they don't feel like they could do it.
Yeah, I like the word that you use that they don't feel like doing it, right?
Right.
Faith is action, it's putting in
Mm,
work. So if
mhm.
you desire to do more, if you desire that actually, yes, I'm a mom, but I feel like I'm called to more, then take that first step. right? Don't wait until your kids have grown, because what I've noticed as being a mom, as I take my first steps of obedience, my children are watching me and I'm also feeding into their faith, right? So we can take our children, our families, as much as far as we can see ourselves.
That is
So if
good.
you are waiting for your children to get 18, you're probably sabotaging them as well without realizing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I don't see where in the Bible that says you can only do this when your child goes to university.
That
Each
is
one of
true.
us are called to do our own part, but we have to do the first thing, which is to take the first step and trust God with the rest.
That is so good and so powerful. A speaker earlier on said the same thing, that my daughter is watching me. So I have to do what I'm doing with excellence and do it afraid because she's going to do the same. And I'm just thinking a mother who will say, I'll wait till they're 18, their children are going to do the same. They're not going to start anything until their kids are 18, and you're delaying destiny and businesses and stuff like that. That is so good. Any last words before we close out?
Yeah, I think, the world is so big, it's so huge. And, I'm always remembering this scripture which says, the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's time for us as women to hold each other up, to be accountable to each other and help each other to continue to do what God has called us, whilst also raising the next generation as well.
that is awesome. Thank you so, so, so much. Now, if somebody would like to get in touch with you for coaching or business leadership help, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can find my profile on Instagram and Facebook and also LinkedIn. If you search Lorraine Gbadegesin, you'll be able to see what I get up to on a day-to-day basis. I'm a very authentic person. I'm also just a relatable person. So feel free to connect with me. And yeah, and if you need any support with anything, my door is always open.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. I will have your contact information and the link below. Thank you so much for taking time out to come and be a blessing to women this month of women, celebrating women. All right. So there you have it, my tribe family, all the way from the United Kingdom. You are not an island. Find your tribe, invest in your tribe, and locate your tribe as well. So I have my tribe all the way in the United Kingdom. Mrs. Lorraine, thank you so much for your time. What is the name of your book? Quickly, what is your book about or books?
It's called Learning Beyond the Classroom.
What is that about?
It's
In one
about
minute.
it's about having a curious mindset as you grow and develop in life. Learning doesn't stop when we graduate from university or when we finish school. Every day we are learning. We're learning to be mothers. We're learning to be wives. We're
That
learning to
is
be
good.
colleagues. We're learning to be business women. We're learning to do community, right? So as long as
Awesome.
you're curious, there's no such thing as failure. You just pick yourself up again and try again and keep learning.
Awesome. Well, send me the link as well to the book so I can put it below. Thank you
Okay.
so much for taking time out to be a blessing to women from around the world. We'll definitely have you back on the podcast. God bless you.
Thank you for having me, Coach
Yeah,
Mags.
you're welcome.